It's Sunday, August 7th, 3:30 a.m. in the morning, as Hartley Haney directs Dr. Kimble to drive south to Kansas City, Missouri. And about 3 hours later at 6:30 a.m., Hartley directs Dr. Kimble to pull into the first motel that he sees. You all get rooms, and then you all go to a travel agency to get your respective flights back to your respective states. You all had just met in the previous 24 hours. Nothing is said. You all kind of keep to yourselves. And then finally, Hartley drives you all to Kansas City International Airport. And you all take your respective flights back to your respective states. So, Scott, on your flight home, you remember in your carry-on luggage that there is a book that you came away with, The Memoirs of Horseback Jack.
Right.
Do you want to read it?
I absolutely do want to read it. I need to see what exactly that the monster that once was Dixon had got his hands on.
For sure. So you reach into your carry-on luggage and you pull it out and you hold it in your hands, in your lap, and you stare at it for at least a minute before you open it and begin to read it. And the first thing I want you to do, Jan, is to roll me a d4, please.
Absolutely. Give me one moment. Sorry, I was marking it in my character sheet that I have in my possession now. Rolled a 1 on the d4.
You lose 1 sanity to the unnatural. You can choose to project that if you want.
I will not project that. I will simply take that.
I would also like you to add 2 points to your unnatural skill.
Okay.
1 to your survival skill.
Ooh.
And 3 to your ride skill. So, as you sit here on the plane heading back to Red River, New Mexico, it is, in fact, indeed just how you imagined it to be when you briefly glanced through it in the trailer. It is about a man giving a Socratic dialogue, telling stories about his time amongst the Indians. But as you are getting deeper into this, it's not very long. With your special skill set, you realize as you're reading this that it would probably take the average person about a week to really absorb and understand its contents. But for you, it only takes you an hour. And the thing that you come to realize is that there's scribblings in the margins, which you could imagine is what Eddie had described to you all that he had seen. Many different times you see the word DeMonte written and then crossed through, and then Spencer Dixon written above it. And remember who you are written above, remember what you really are. And remember what you really are has been crossed through. You realize that there is talk of ways of doing certain rituals through the you read between the lines and realize that there are different ways to engage in certain types of magic out of character. The rituals Changeling Feast and Charnel Meditation are within this tome, and it becomes immediately obvious to you that Horseback Jack is Spencer Dixon, and Spencer Dixon is DeMonte, whoever that is, whatever that is. Now, your history score being as high as it is, you realize that the name DeMonte has roots in French history. So you keep that in the back of your mind as you read through this autobiography, weird, fictional history. It's really hard to say. It is kind of all over the place, but the way the thing that was Spencer Dixon writes is fairly intelligent, all things considered. But otherwise, it is the scribblings of a madman. That much is clear. Does he have any other thoughts beyond this?
I take out my own pen, and any place where DeMonte has not been scratched through, I underline it. And also just kind of going through it at this point because it's mine now. No one else is going to get their hands on this. I actually go through and I start underlining key passages, looking at, specifically the references to cannibalism, any references to changing form, changing shape. Okay.
Makes sense.
And there I start taking my own notes.
What do you write down?
It's all in And this would be extremely confusing for anyone who have got their hands on the book, but Scott is writing in cursive Russian.
Ah, that's right. Something that didn't come up at all in play is your language capabilities. So yeah, no, it's almost like you're writing in a secret code only for yourself.
Right. But specifically making notes of, when he gets back to Red River, he's going to dedicate a lot of time to looking at other cases of, specifically in the southern and midwestern U.S., looking for cases of cannibalism, looking for cases where they could not seem to pin down any sort of POI, and also to follow up on that DeMonte.
Okay. So, obviously it doesn't take the full flight for you to read this, but you read it multiple times while you're on the flight, absorbing its contents in full, and eventually you get back to Albuquerque to pick up your car, and then you make the long 3-hour drive back to Red River, and it's now, by the way, August 8th at this point.
Yes.
Is when your flight took off and when you landed. So here is how we're going to play this mechanically, because it's stay on the case. I want to do it a little bit differently. I want you to roll me either your anthropology, your history, or your science library skill. And then I need to make the requisite secret roll. I presume you would want me to roll occult, because that is way higher than your criminology.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely roll the occult, please.
So which one do you want to roll?
I think I'm going to take my anthropology.
Okay. Go ahead and give me an anthropology roll.
All right. That is a failure, 73 over 70 for anthropology.
Okay. Go ahead and mark that. I'm going to make your occult roll now. And not tell you the result and just give you information based off of that.
Yes.
Okay. So...
Oh, and for the one bond that I'm taking off for staying on the case, I'm taking one off Roger Driscoll.
Thank you for reminding me about that. Yes, you would need to take a bond off of that, because that actually makes perfect sense, because you spend the next several weeks reaching out to different colleagues across academia, including at one point taking a trip to Washington, D.C., to the Library of Congress. Just to see what you could find. Specifically, you were honing in on the name DeMonte. So, in regards to that, Scott comes across mentions of the DeMonte family being prominent in the court of Louis XIV's reign. And you come across certain ties to the southern province of Languedoc in France. And specifically, it's rumored that the DeMontes, that their ancestors were members of the heretical Cathars, if I'm pronouncing them right, or Cathars. Which were said to be exterminated
Cathar heresy
during the Albigensian Crusade in the 13th century. So after that, your trail kind of goes cold a little bit. But if this guy, this entity that was taking Spencer Dixon's form, was part of this DeMonte family, that triggers something in your mind, because there was many references to how Spencer Dixon, DeMonte, whoever, traveled north. So you could at least pinpoint that he came somewhere from maybe the southern United States, but you don't really know where.
Right. Now, one question I do have regarding Spencer Dixon, the identity. Since he had a family whom he proceeded to kill, would Scott be able to find any information on them? Like, it doesn't even have to be anything too in-depth, but just seeing, like, who were these people really? That daughter of his, was she a biological daughter? Like, was he adopted by the by the parents?
So,
and he would not mind calling Haney back, kind of leaning on him for information.
Okay. Yeah, no, let's do that. So, we can say that before you were dropped off at the Kansas City International Airport, you in particular asked for Haney's number in case you needed to, you wanted to check up on things. He hemmed and hawed, saying that didn't seem to be protocol, but
it absolutely is not protocol.
He relented eventually, given everything that you all had gone through together. Trauma and violence and things like that tend to bring people together in horrifying ways.
Yep.
So,
hey, the family that slays together stays together.
Exactly. So you give him a call. Let's say this is about like a week after you get back, right? So like the middle of the week on a Wednesday, you give him a call at his house.
Hello?
Javi, it's me, Glasses.
Holy shit, I didn't think I'd ever hear your voice again. Why?
I have a favor to ask, and I know that I'm not really in position to be asking, but this is in regard to,
the thing that we dealt with?
Of course. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Specifically Dixon.
What?
I'm following a trail that, if it is what I think it is, this thing might go a lot deeper than we thought.
Well,
Only thing I need to confirm now is that family of his, the ones he did in, parents and daughter. If this thing is what I think it is,
and sister, by the way,
he
had a sister as well,
and sister. Thank you. I actually had completely spaced that. So if it is what I think it is, there might be more to this than we even imagined. Now, if he was adopted and he also adopted his own daughter,
no.
that would change things.
Sir, Glasses, do you watch the news at all?
I don't really watch much TV these days. Radio is more my speed.
Okay then. So I guess you definitely didn't see what happened then. I guess whoever working out of Missouri with the group, they really spun the shit out of everything. They framed him as a serial killer.
Well, they honestly might not be too wrong about that.
Yeah, well, listen, apparently he got into some sort of bullshit with the Eisenharts like many weeks ago before what happened in Stafford happened. I don't know the full details of it. I don't have everyone's kind of being hush-hush about it, and I don't have as much, chutzpah as I used to when I was actually on the force. But, no, for all intents and purposes, Spencer was a real person. That was his real family. So whatever that thing was, must have I don't know, ate him or something and just took on his form. The way it was framed was, the way that the group framed it was that after he, I don't know, ran away from the fair and whatnot and made his way back to Missouri, he I don't know, they say he murdered his family and burned the house down and whatnot. And the way it was reported was that his corpse was amongst it all, I guess, he was a killer, right. And then he just killed himself or something. I mean, you and I know the truth, though.
Well, of course.
So, does that answer your question? I guess that answers your question.
It doesn't, but, well, it doesn't answer my question, but I think that's about as good as we're gonna get. Thank you again, Javi, and, take care of yourself, okay?
Yeah, you too, Glasses, you too.
Hangs up the phone.
Yeah, and I'll kind of sit there for a little bit, kind of ponder what he said.
As to the other thing you had asked about in terms of, cannibalism cases, you're talking, murders and police cases throughout, the South and Southwestern U.S.?
Yeah, basically, kind of taking a broad geographic area, but basically starting with Kansas, Missouri, and the Midwest, and then also, kind of rounding the circle out to get into Appalachia, the southeastern U.S., and even into Texas.
You know what? I'm gonna say that is. This would actually. I'm gonna roll this in to stay on the case, but this would actually need to be your criminology, and I am gonna roll that.
Right.
Let's see what happens.
Okay, that's fine.
No. You don't have as much reach as you thought you would have.
No.
You try to reach out to one of your former UC Berkeley contacts who has gone into the federal government. They moonlighted going back and forth.
Yeah.
They also weren't really happy.
I'm sure they're not too happy to hear from me.
No.
Yeah.
No. So nothing on that front that you could really glean that would match anything similar. So you have a little bit more of an understanding of what this guy may have been, but of course you may not ever get the full picture.
Right.
But Scott finds it intensely interesting. Very interesting. So we'll kind of go forward from there, and we'll fast forward to August 22nd, 1988, and it's a Sunday, and you had taken some time off to go on your pursuits and whatnot, which kind of brought the ire of Roger Driscoll on you a little bit, but he realized it was in pursuit of scholarly interests, so he forgave you when you came back to begin working steadily again at the Red River Public Library. And during that time, you made plans with Elena for dinner at her place. She was very insistent.
Yeah.
So what does Scott do in preparation for that?
Probably puts on his nicest set of clothes, which he doesn't wear very often, but slightly less garish 70s affair, you know, more of a classic clean-cut suit.
Okay.
He picked up, when he was in Albuquerque, actually thinking ahead a little bit, he did pick up 2 bottles of some decent, you know, not terribly expensive, but decent wine.
Makes sense.
And just been sitting on those. Yeah, not much in the way of flat packs or, you know, high-end flat packs in a Red River.
Right. No, definitely not in this tiny resort town in the northern part of New Mexico. So, do you drive over or do you walk over?
I'd say in this case, I'd probably drive over.
Okay. So yeah, you drive over and shit, I don't think we ever said what kind of car you had. Did you have a car in mind?
It was probably like a VW Beetle, honestly.
All right, Dr. Kimble.
Like a third hand bug.
So you drive over in your Beetle and park in the driveway. You see, it's a decent enough house, right? And you are aware of the situation with Elena's father being, you know, being that she's taking care of him in her house.
And I realize this is the first time I've actually ever been over to her place for the, you know, past 2 years or so we've been working together.
That's definitely a change from what you were expecting out of her. It's not unwelcome. I mean,
oh no, not at all.
She is as you put it in a previous occasion, a fellow traveler, if you will, to a degree. So you walk up the steps to the small porch, knock on the door, and she answers a few moments later, and she is dressed up in a reddish dress, and she's wearing a shirt, like a long sleeve navy blue shirt with like little red flowers on it, like underneath, I guess you could say. And she's wearing these strappy black block high heels, maybe about like 2 inches tall, and she smiles brightly at you and says, "Hey, what's that you got there?" Gesturing to the wine in your hand.
Oh, just have a belated thank you present for well, I'll be honest, you've been covering a lot for me these past few weeks, and I just wanted to say I really appreciate it.
I am happy to do it, Scott. You know me, and I hope you'll tell me all about what you were going to look at and rushing off to do. You said you went to DC, right?
Yeah, National Archives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
here, come in.
We can sit down.
And she gestures for you to come inside and closes the door behind you and takes one of the bottles of wine from you and walks off to the kitchen with it. And you follow behind her. It's a decently furnished place. You can tell that a lot of the house is here on the first floor. There is an upstairs that goes up. You could tell from the outside that the second floor is not very big. There is a garage. Her car is in the garage. You didn't see it parked out in the driveway. And the air smells of herbs, spices. Specifically, you think you smell like beef, maybe some hint of potatoes. So you follow her to the kitchen, and the table's already been set, and you don't see her father anywhere.
I won't say anything about that, but just kind of look around. This is a nice place.
Well, thank you. It's modest, I know. It's, you know, ever since, you know, Paul moved in, and ever since Mom died, you know, it's I've kind of just taken a shine to the old place. This is where I grew up, but I just, you know, here, sit down. And she grabs one of the chairs and scoots it out for you to sit in. And now you can see from here, that as you sit down, that she has, like, you see a tray on the stove, a pot, and she brings over the pot to the table and sets it on some placemat, and it's a big thing of mashed potatoes. And she walks back, comes and grabs and sits down a tray, and there's a big thing of meatloaf on it. Then comes back, and you have asparagus. All of it smells really good.
Mm-hmm.
So
you didn't need to do all this. This is a hell of a spread, Elena.
Oh, anything for you, Scott. She catches herself as she says that and kind of turns away a little bit shy that she was your human being what it is. That was very forward of her in a setting that is not professional such as this, in a casual setting.
Right.
She is taking some of the other pots and stuff that she used, like dishes, and she's putting them in the sink, and she's running some water for them before she comes over and joins you at the table. You do notice that there is only settings for you and her.
Right. Is your father not going to be joining us?
Oh, he's asleep right now. He does a lot of sleeping these days. I mean, there'll be enough left over for him unless you have a hell of an appetite. So.
No, I'll make sure. No, he deserves to have some of this too.
He does. It's it's a shame that he's starting to lose his mind a little bit. Alzheimer's, I think it's called. That's what does it to you, I guess. But no, tell me, what were you doing, running around all over the place, leaving me to deal with Roger's ass? Come on, I gotta know.
Okay, look. So this stays between you and me right now, okay? It's I don't want to bring it on Roger too soon, but I might have an in back in academia.
That's amazing. Really? That's so great, Scott.
Yeah.
That is so good. Where? What college? What university? Or are you? Don't tell me you're moving away from me. She gives you this look of slight puppy dog eyes, but also an understanding look, kind of mixed together at the same time.
Nothing's set in stone yet, but so an old colleague of mine from Berkeley, he ended up getting a better deal at Miskatonic.
Oh,
which that's where I got my PhD from.
Oh, that's right.
And
isn't that weird haunted college? Or that's what they say,
I mean, isn't every college at least a little bit haunted?
Yeah, but isn't that one more haunted than the others?
Well, I mean, yeah, definitely it has a reputation for alternative ideas in academia, but, I'll tell you this much, it was a great place to get my doctorate from. I had a hell of a time going through. Did you know that they have some of the most rare volumes in the world in their library? Books that no one else has, not even the Royal Library in Cambridge.
You see her eyes kind of glaze over, but in a good way. It's like the look of, oh man. She says, I can only imagine. But tell me. She leans in, she takes a bite of meatloaf, right? And she chews it, leans in and says, Did you ever go to Innsmouth?
No. That was that's
the
kind of
creepiest
funny
place
story.
in them all.
Well, I mean, from what I heard, the whole damn town burned down back in the 20s. And, everything they had to have there is all rebuilt from the 30s.
I heard the military took it over, but maybe that's changed since then? I mean, maybe you would know. You've been up there. I actually haven't.
Well, that's the whole thing is, you try asking about it and they're going to get, you get the stink eye something fierce. It's a bit of a grim history.
Yeah.
Honestly, just from what I heard, it was a bad case of FBI and military overreach just slaughtered the whole damn town because of rum running.
She just shakes her head.
Prohibition days.
Just shakes her head. Fucking bastards.
Yeah, well, more things change, the more they stay the same.
That is absolutely true. How's the food, by the way? Did I do all right?
It's delicious. Thank you.
She smiles. Oh, thank God. I was worried it was going to turn out like shit, but that is great to hear. I guess one of these days I'll have a man that can appreciate my cooking, and she's giving you that puppy dog kind of look.
I smile a bit, and I'd be a damn fool not to.
One of these days, and she shovels some mashed potatoes into her mouth. And I need to roll something real quick. No. So,
okay.
You two continue to sit there and eat. Do you take seconds? Do you just have one plate? Is Scott a crazy eater? What's that like?
So he's used to not eating a lot altogether. So, and when he does, for what he likes, he is a fairly simple guy. So this is right up his alley.
Okay.
As far as taking seconds, first see, how far down the bottle of wine we get. Also, kind of take her lead on that.
She takes seconds.
I take seconds too. And as we sit there and we chat and we eat, I'm glad that we kind of turn away from the initial topic because Scott's a guy who he doesn't mind lying to people. Hell, he's lied to people most of his life. He doesn't like lying to her. It doesn't feel good.
Okay. No, that's fair.
Yeah, anytime they can move off the topic that, basically forces him to lie or at the very least tell half truths.
The better.
Mm-hmm.
So she clears the table and begins to put leftovers inside of fancy new Tupperware containers.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. You help her. She's cleaning some of the dishes. Do you help her?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you two are standing like real close to each other, and she inches as close to you as she can in a subtle way, but it's noticeable to you. You know, you're picking up the signals and whatnot. And
yep.
She says, do you want to watch a movie or something?
I mean, if you got anything on a VHS tape, sure. Or read a book or something else.
You know, books would be good too. I mean, we don't have to watch a movie. I mean, there's nothing wrong with two people who like to be in each other's company, just reading books of each other. We can do that. What would you like to do? I invited you over for dinner, but what would you like to do, if anything, Scott? Whatever you want.
Yeah, look at her and just, more than anything, I just think I'd like to spend a little bit more time with you. It's been a crazy past few weeks, and well, I just like this quiet.
She blushes hardcore when you say that and tries to turn away and hide it, and now you see that pretty clear and evident. So you did see, walking into her house, you did see there's a lot of books, clearly. Great personalities are similar to each other and everything like that. So you also do see an array of VHS tapes on one wall. You see stuff like The Running Man is one that sticks out. So does No Way Out. You also see Empire of the Sun. You see Superman 4.
Ugh, no.
You also see Raising Arizona, Tin Men. Just see a whole smattering of different movies. She's into a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah. I never got to see Raising Arizona when it was still in theaters.
Oh, you want to watch that?
Sure.
Oh, yeah. The Coen brothers wrote that. Nicky Cage is in it. Great movie. Funny movie. Weird movie. But also just a funny movie. Yeah. And she goes over, grabs it, walks over to the VHS, bends over at the waist in front of you. It's a nice view. And you sit on the couch, and she comes over, sits on the couch next to you, and the movie begins. And for the next hour and a half, you forget the studies that you did. You forget those crazy 24 hours at the start of this month. You forget about the thing that should not be. And around the time the movie ends, there's a faint, Elena, are you there? And then she just looks at you and says, he's awake. Well, I don't expect you to stay, but I really had a good time tonight, Scott.
Likewise. Hey, do you need any help with this? I could.
She shakes her head. No, I appreciate the offer, but I'm fine. And she kisses you on the cheek, just kind of like bats her eyes at you and says, well, I guess I'll see you at work tomorrow.
I pull her in for a kiss.
Oh, shit. All right.
And then as, kind of pull away. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night, Elena, and give your father my best, okay?
Yeah, I will. She is kind of at a loss for words right now, and she closes the door behind you. And now we go to Vince. So, Vince, for you, having gotten back August 8th to Philadelphia and gotten back into the swing of things with work, you had a scheduled therapy appointment this month. Do you usually meet on a certain day with your therapist?
You said I return on the 8th, right?
Yeah, everybody came back on the 8th of August.
Okay, so I think since, well, first of all, therapy's expensive. But I think he'd at least have 2 appointments every month, and it's just like every second Wednesday.
Okay, so
the 10th, just 2 days after. returning from the operation.
No, that's perfect. So you are currently waiting to be seen for your appointment. Time has been carved out in your day. Your boss, the special agent in charge, is aware of the circumstances. You know, he knows you're a Vietnam veteran and knows that this is helpful for you. So you have mandated time carved out to be able to go and see your therapist without any repercussions or anything like that. Your boss is a good boss. You have learned that much about him. So you're sitting in the office and the receptionist leans over the desk and says, Dr. Lauderdale is ready for you now.
I give her a soft smile, nod, and say, thanks, Lizzie. And I head into his office.
And it's furnished with, it's common sight for you to see his office, but for our listeners, it's kind of long. There is a couch against the left wall. There are 2 sets of chairs on the right side against the right wall and a little table in between them. And on the far side of the room is a wooden desk. And behind the desk is a wooden bookshelf full of different books on psychology, therapy, and also just other styles of books. Like there's history books, stuff you're all familiar with at this point. There's a window on the right wall that sits like up above between the 2 chairs and the table. And he gets up, Dr. Martin Lauderdale gets up and comes over and greets you and shakes your hand and says, Vince?
Dr. Lauderdale, glad to be meeting you again.
Of course. Please have a seat. And he gestures to the opposing chair on the right-hand side. And he goes over and sits in his own chair. He sits down. He's about a man in his early 60s, bald, clean-shaven, wearing a pair of glasses, dressed comfortably in a short-sleeve, button-up polo shirt and some gray slacks. It's the summertime because it's hot, so he's dressed comfortably but professionally. He sits down and he pulls out a notepad from the side of the chair cushion and he says, "So, how have things been?"
Well, a bit up and down, you could say.
Oh?
Had work. You know, it's how it is. So
How has work been? I know that can be a pretty stressful, intense job. You've alluded to that before, but have things been okay?
I think for a moment, he wants to say something, like opens his mouth and then just, 2 or 3 seconds stares into the abyss. And before his inner eye, he just sees the scene of going through the hallway of Dixon's family home while the fucking beast transforms. And he just nods and says, yeah, he nods. It's alright. Had a little raid on a farmhouse. I'm not... He stops himself again.
I understand you can't give me the full details of any of the operations or missions that you do, or whatever you prefer to call them. He kind of smiles as he says that. But did anything happen this particular time around? You do seem troubled.
It's not particularly what we did. Like, I know what we have to do. Like, if we have to use lethal force, it's at least most of the time, justified. He looks up and says, but when we got there, we had a suspect, arms trade, bringing over guns from fuck knows where to distribute amongst the local population, and stops for a moment again and then says, we had noted that there was a family inside that home, but when we arrived, it was just him, at least alive. He killed his whole family, it's...
His eyes go wide, but he doesn't say anything. He's listening.
It's after every one of those raids, and he makes like little quotations of the question who's to blame. Like, did we drive someone over the edge? But why the fuck did he murder his whole family for a crime that would have served him a few years in jail? And he's like trying his best to navigate his way around telling what had actually happened in the last opera, but saying it like it was official business.
Right. He notices that you're struggling to find words to what you went through, but of course, he just says, well, Vincent, as I'm sure you know, given what you went through in Vietnam, sometimes there are good sides. There's a good side to human nature, and there's a bad side to human nature. And sometimes there is a swing of the pendulum to one side or the other. And it's okay to not have words to describe what you went through. Was this very recent?
Yeah, returned on Monday.
Okay, so this is very recent.
Yeah, dog, the pendulum thing, I don't know, it just feels like the pendulum's stuck on the wrong side.
Why do you think that way?
Maybe it's because of the job, maybe it's because of the stuff I see. You get confronted with all of these evil things, so. But you really get confronted with, well, most of the time, with the good part in this. And then I look at myself in the mirror after every mission, everything that I'm always happy to be on them. I'm almost like, could say, longing, waiting that another thing crops up, that I can go out there and be the one who's trying to hammer the pendulum back in shape so that it swings again and that it stays swinging and not get nudged onto the wrong side of the clock,
Of course.
But then always, I'm like, if I look at myself and my teammates, we had some strange ones flown into for this. Anyways, when I look at this and I think about what's the good thing, like there's not too many people taking care of this. More people turn to stupid shit, saving themselves, maybe proving to themselves that they can do certain stuff. I don't know.
This whole time he's just taking notes and not saying a word, but just nodding. He's just letting you talk, getting it all out of you.
I think he also pauses for a bit longer and then says, I really like that pendulum thing you just said. That's
a good metaphor for human nature.
Yeah, that's a good metaphor. That's how it should be. Like there's always gonna be light, and every light produces a shadow.
I like that. That's very good. That's very good, Vince. I actually like that. I might have to steal that from you and use it for some of my other patients. That's good. I like that. So let me ask you this then. Have you taken any time for yourself to really just relax, do something entirely for yourself, to find any sort of joy, any sort of happiness?
Funny you say that. Yeah, when we returned on Monday, I had Monday, Tuesday off. Well, my boss gave it off to me, and I just drank, had a good time, not thinking about anything, and just a little sip here and there.
Has the drinking increased recently?
Well, I'd like to say no, but I'm actually not too sure about that.
That's understandable. It can be hard to know in the moment or realize in the moment whether or not you are drinking too much or not, or if it has increased. It's not really something people consciously think about, but I figured I would ask just for my own purposes. Maybe get you thinking along that path line. It hasn't bled over into your professional life, has it?
Well, I'm not drunk while I'm at the job, if that's what you're asking. No.
That's fair. I figured I would just make sure, because I do know that the ATF has set aside time for you to come in and see me during the day. So it's not as if I have to. Patient-doctor confidentiality is still a thing. I'm not obligated to report anything, and if I think it's a problem, it's you keep your extracurriculars separate, then you keep them separate.
Yeah, I'd say it's just business is business. I can't afford to not have a clear head.
We deal with our trauma the way that we feel like we only know how to do, and it may not even necessarily be trauma from our childhood. It may just be from life. We're constantly bombarded with these existential threats around us, like, are the Soviets going to nuke us? Are they going to invade us? We live in complicated times, Vince. It's okay to feel uncertain, and it's okay to pull back into yourself a little bit for self-reflection if needed. These are entirely normal feelings. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel, But that's not really doing something for yourself. Like, I don't know, have you thought about, like, maybe going out to a bar to drink, interacting with other people? Have you traveled somewhere and seen someplace, like have you gone outside of Pennsylvania? I know you are originally from North Carolina, and you have mentioned a few times about the complicated history, I should say, with your family. But have you really stopped to think and done anything for yourself besides drinking to relax? It's just something to think about.
He leans back in his chair a little bit, staring at the ceiling, going through the last weeks where the most exciting thing was going to Kansas. And he probably smiles about 2 moments where that he had, and then looks at his doctor again and says, yeah, went to a fair at a Ferris wheel. It's kind of fun.
Okay. Where?
Where was that again? Somewhere Midwest.
Okay. You went out west recently. What was that like? What did you see out there? What was I've never been out there myself personally, but think of the sensations that you felt. Think of everything you saw. What did that do for you?
Yeah, I think that's another moment of him thinking back to the operation, and this hard cut between strolling the fairground, going on the Ferris wheel in his little cowboy attire, which was, he didn't have to do that, but he still did, and kind of had some fun. And then there's this hard cut to dousing an unnatural corpse in the middle of nowhere with a ton of gasoline.
And then interspersed with that, you driving across a field, watching a man basically swim through dirt, leap up in the air, and then dive back into the ground at unnaturally high speeds and with great force. And it's a highly conflicting feeling between feeling like a normal person at the fair, but then remembering what you were really there for.
Yeah, so I think he just says, I know it was conflicting. It was fun, but also not for too long.
Okay. Were you by yourself, or were you with your team when you were at the fair?
Well, the only times he was with his team wasn't really the times he had fun at the fair itself. No, it was strictly business. So, I was there by myself. We were west, and I've just heard that there's a little fair going on a few towns over, so decided to check it out.
Let me ask you something. In the 2 days since Vince got back, would he have paid attention to the news at all?
I think he would.
Okay. So, you would know that what happened in Kansas made national news, because you know, or you suspect, that whatever was spoken of by Haney and the person he spoke with on the phone after you all were done in Anderson, Missouri, it came out that Spencer Dixon was a serial killer, and that at this point the investigation is still ongoing. Obviously suspected of killing his family before setting fire to himself and burning his family home down. But that's really all you know.
Yeah, I think then he'd say, adding to this experience, he'd say, I mean, I at least had some fun, which can't be said over that other thing, that snaps his fingers. Where was it again? Oklahoma? Nah. Have you recently seen any news? And he just looks at his dog.
1 second while I make a luck roll. I have.
Yeah, that's just bad. That's just crazy.
You see him stop and think for a second. His eyes kind of go a little bit wide. Kansas?
That was it. Yeah.
I heard about that. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I always imagine everywhere I go, it's just shit going down. I've always in the back of my mind, there's always this thought of what if someone would hide a bomb here, because obviously, and then just I don't know, two states over, some shit like that happens. Yeah, well, that's a world to live in, huh?
Yeah. No.
Talking about a pendulum being stuck, huh? And he lights a cigarette. It's 88, everybody smokes.
Actually, I'm going to say that there's a no smoking policy in his office.
God damn it, Lauderdale, you bitch.
This is a zone where people do not do that. He's going to say, no, that's given the nature of, I mean, I'm sure you're aware of those different mail bombings that have been occurring over the last several years. There was one, I think the most recent one was it was last year, I think. Some guy out in Utah.
Holy fuck, that's right. Kaczynski was still...
Yep.
Holy moly, yeah. Honestly, I didn't like the time frame. Like, he is active till like mid-90s.
He's still active. So
I wasn't aware of that.
What you're saying to Dr. Lauderdale is both very real and also it's couched in your need to try and get this traumatic event out of you in one form or another, but yet it still just ties back in. It's not. It's all still tying back in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was something. When was that? Like beginning of last year or something?
Yeah. Dr. Lauderdale says, but again, have you done anything for yourself? Truly just set your job aside. Try and quell some of these fears within you. I realize it's not an overnight process, Vince, but you got to do something for yourself. You have to find the good that's out there, you know?
He nods a while. Yeah, I don't know, if we're talking about it like this, then no, I haven't done anything.
Maybe you should get away. I know you just came back, but that was professional. But maybe you should get away, leave the state. Do you like fishing?
It's not the worst thing, yeah.
How often do you go and fish if you're able to?
Oh, now you're asking me tough questions. He shrugs. Can't remember the last time I went.
It can be quite relaxing. I do a little bit of fishing myself on the weekends. I leave the city, go out to a quiet river out west here in Pennsylvania, and I just sit and wait for the fish to come by and don't think about anything else. Because, I mean, believe it or not, you know, so at some point, who's the therapist for the therapist, you know? I find that, for me at least, getting away and easing my mind and calming my mind is the best thing that I could do for myself. And fishing helps with that. Maybe you should give that a try. I'm not saying it will work right away or it will work at all, but you got to try some things. Do different things.
He, once again, leans back a little, raises his head thinking about it, and then while I'm not interested, yeah, maybe I should do that.
Dr. Lauderdale says, Vince, what you do is incredibly important. You know, I can say personally that I'm grateful for the service that you provide to America, the service that you provide to the city of Philadelphia, and I realize it may be a thankless job. The job you do is extremely stressful, so you need to find ways to decompress. Maybe try fishing. Not saying it'll work like I just said, but you never know. It could work. I'm just here to help you navigate the complexities of life and the complexities of your own mind. And we will cut away. We're going to say that you go down to see your father. Did you want to have a phone conversation, or did you just want us to cut away? And did you want to let him know you were coming, or is it just you just show up?
I think he just shows up. Yeah, fuck it. No call beforehand.
Yeah, so we're going to say that you speak with Dr. Lauderdale for however long you need to until you've run out of things to say. And he hopes to see you again in 2 weeks. The thing is, though, is that as you begin to settle back into your normal life as an ATF explosive specialist, you keep thinking about your dad and realize that you remember growing up that he enjoyed fishing. And thinking about what Dr. Lauderdale said, maybe it's time to go and check up on the old man. The thing of it is, though, is that you realize that, yes, you make a decent salary, but you still have to manage expenses for other hobbies and other extracurricular activities. So looking at your finances, you realize that in order to make this trip, because it's a 6-hour drive or 6.5-hour drive from Philadelphia to Plymouth, North Carolina, having to fill up on gas, get in a hotel or a motel, you'll have to cancel your appointment, the second appointment in August with Dr. Lauderdale. So please remove 1 point of bond from him.
Ooh, he's down to 8 out of 10.
Oh, I forgot you projected.
For now.
Oh, I forgot you projected.
Yeah, I projected once. I had to because I lost 8 fucking sanity.
Right, that's fucking right. Okay, yep.
That's why he wanted to talk about this.
No. That's fine. Yeah, so you cancel the second appointment for this month. And September 2nd, you wait a few more weeks. You know, you keep saying you're gonna go. Mentally, you're saying you're gonna go, but you don't. Finally, you work up the courage to do so, and you drive to Plymouth. You take the long 6-hour drive, and you drive into town, and you get a hotel, because you don't know what the hell's gonna happen with your father. You don't want to stay there. So you get a room at the Sportsman's Inn within town itself, and he lives a little bit out of town. And you drive up, and you see that there is a old Ford truck in the gravel driveway, and you see lights on inside the house. It's small. It's not like a cabin, but it's isolated, and it's his own place, you know. Just him, nobody else. Your mother has long since passed. How does Vince feel right now?
Oh, man. I think he stops the driveway, gets out. He's wearing plain clothes. He has one of these little bucket fisher hats on his head. His old fishing gear in one hand and a 6-pack of beer in the other. And he's just standing there in the driveway, remembering the house like it was, I don't know, 20 years ago. And his mom was still alive. And when this place felt like home, when this place felt like there's love, like he is loved there. And now it just feels disconnected from all of this. And seeing how some of it also fell into like disrepair, a bit sad. He's super conflicted. Like on one hand, there's the advice that God gave him with fishing and all of that, and he knows like he's of the strong belief that he never really got to know his father. So for him, it's basically knocking on a stranger's door, asking them to go fishing.
Okay.
Also, I'm gonna roll power.
Okay.
I honestly don't know if his dad would recognize him. Like, they haven't seen each other for almost like 10 years. Okay. So I want to roll power. No, I want to roll luck. That's even better.
Yeah, roll luck.
To see if he succeeds, he'll go knock first. If he doesn't succeed, I think he'll just stand there and think about it in his head for so long that he's dead.
So, you stand there. It's been 10 years since you've seen or spoken, really, to your father. And there's a moment of trepidation as you stand in the driveway, having just gotten out. And you're thinking, as you stand there, the door opens in front of you. And out steps, this is still your father, but he's not as skinny or in shape as you remember him being when you were younger. He's a little bit overweight. He's got balding grayish hair, wearing a white tank top, has some shorts on, and he says, "Who the hell are you? What do you want? Are you selling something? Come on, speak up."
Yeah, I think that moment just hits him. Because, yeah, he's been away for 10 years. Obviously his dad also got older, but he didn't think that would happen, and it's just this, fuck, William. Don't remember your own fucking son?
He squints his eyes, walks forward a little bit off of this small wooden front deck area. There's like 2 wooden steps. He walks down. Vincent? Vince? My God. It's really you.
Yeah, it's been a while, huh?
Yeah. You look good, I guess. Right? That's what people say?
I think he looks him up and down, sees he's not in shape anymore, but that's to be expected of this now older man, like walking with a limp in his right leg because he got hit by some fragmentation from an explosion.
Yeah, the limp is still there when he walked down to greet you.
I guess people say that, yeah.
Wow. Come in. Come on. Let's go inside. Come on. And he gestures like with his hand and his arm and begins limping back to the house, which holds many memories for you. As you walk through the foyer, stepping through the door, place hasn't really changed all that much. It's still sort of stuck in the
past.
Yes, but that's to be expected. You do remember that a lot of what made your childhood good was your mother. The place felt alive to a degree. She made it feel lived in. Here, let me take your bag, and you have, let's say you have like a duffel bag, and he walks over to you and takes it and walks over to a couch that you are familiar with, having, sat there, and friends that you had met when you were younger that you no longer know, and you have no idea where they've gone in life, but you remember playing board games, running around the house when you were younger.
Yeah, playing just on the streets and the wooded areas, on the little river bends.
A lot of good memories here.
I think he's kind of struggling how to do this, so he takes a can of beer from the 6-pack and just tosses it over.
He manages to catch the beer. He almost fumbles it. Oh, well, I guess this is as good of a starting point as any. And he walks over to the sink and he cracks it open. And there's a little bit of foam, a little bit that rises to the top. And he quickly sips the top off of it. So I know it's been a while. How are you?
I mean, let's just say shitty as always. Job's the job. Working with the fucking federals now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, doing the same shit I did back then. Just in American soil.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So you run around and help defuse bombs here too? I know that there's been that one guy or whoever it is planting bombs in people's mailboxes.
Yeah, if public knew how many people are planting bombs somewhere, they'd be concerned. But I'm not here to talk about my job. I don't even know why I'm here. Brought my fishing gear, brought a few beers. You still have the little fucking boat? Or has it sunken
His
yet?
face lights up when you mention fishing. Fishing? Yeah, I still got the old boat. Yeah. And we'll say that it's kind of the morning, you got here around let's say 5 a.m. One of the best times to fish is early in the morning. So you're already drinking early in the morning. Fuck it, whatever.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. He's straight on his path to alcoholism.
Yeah. I'll drink the rest. Do you want to go now? Let's go now.
Yeah, let's get a little walnut out there.
Shit. Here. Can you, while I get my gear together, can you? Here, he points over at a hook rack on the walls. My keys are over there. Can you pull the truck around to the trailer, get the boat on? I can get my gear, please.
Yeah, sure.
You grab the keys, you get in his truck, you pull it around to the small fishing boat on the trailer, the little canoe, and he is getting his gear together, and he comes out with a tackle box and his own rod, and you all head out for the closest body of water in Plymouth, backing the truck down, getting the trailer situated near the water. One of you gets the canoe off of the trailer, holds onto it so it doesn't float away, while let's say that's you hold onto the canoe while your father parks the truck elsewhere in a lot, and then you two set out onto the water and start drinking and begin fishing. You paddle out there, get to a nice spot in the middle of the water, and for a while, you don't speak. It's hard to find words to say to a man who has caused you different amounts of trauma and distress throughout your life ever since he left. But sitting here on the water and, taking occasional sips of your beer, casting the line out, reeling something in, only for it to be nothing, casting the line back out. But it feels strangely nice to be sitting out here with the man who helped bring you to life, so to speak. So I want you to make me a charisma ×5 roll to try and establish a new bond with your father.
I'm getting my good dice. I don't want to fail this.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I think you'll still fail it, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Fucking roll under 50. That is a 39. Whew, under 50.
Excellent. Hell yeah, dude. Go ahead and add your father in as a bond for half your charisma score.
Oh, that's nice.
Perfect.
Peterson, William. Father. For a score of 5. New bond acquired.
Excellent. Very good. So, eventually, William breaks the silence and he turns and looks over his shoulder at you because you're both facing opposite directions. So that way you aren't getting each other's lines tangled up potentially. And William looks over his shoulder at you and he says, "You think about your mother often?"
Here and there.
I really fucked things up, didn't I?
Yeah, I guess for once you could have stayed.
You've seen things like I've seen things. I just didn't know how to handle them well. And I took that on you guys. And when your mother died, there was just a lot that was unsaid, you know? So much unsaid. And I
don't remember I don't remember too much about it.
Yeah, but
The thing I remember most is being alone.
Yeah. I think I now understand how you must have felt. I think I get it now. I know this may not mean very much, given all the time that's passed, but I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry.
You should. Sits there like they. It's really good that they are turned to each other with their backs turned on each other, and he I think he suppresses a tear and then just says, "Yeah, me too."
And you can hear him like audibly suck in air. It's not hard to tell that you think he's trying to suppress his own. He's trying not to cry. He never really. You don't know what he went through. You never really talked about your experiences together in the war, in him in Korea, and also Vietnam for a bit, and then you with your own experience in Vietnam. But you think that right now wouldn't be the best time to bring that up. And you feel a hand on your shoulder, not hard, not firm, but just you feel his hand touch your shoulder and just kind of rub it affectionately, you know, like a nice father to son gesture. How does that make Vince feel?
Like, not bad weird, but he's just not used to this. He doesn't really know how to respond to it, but it doesn't feel bad. So he nods, hoping that he'll notice, and then reels in his fishing line again.
Yeah, small tiny little fish comes up, and he turns when he hears the fishing line being reeled up, and he says, "Oh shit, you got a little one. Nice. Very nice."
Yeah, I remember them being a bit bigger when we did this.
Yeah, you're right. This has been good, by the way.
Yeah. Gonna be honest, it feels weird, but it's okay. Feels good weird, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do. And we'll just say that for the next like couple hours, you sit out until about, let's just say 8 a.m. And you spend the weekend with your father. You feel a connection being rebuilt, a small one. It's there. Still, some things are difficult to talk about. There's still a level of awkwardness to the interactions, but it feels good. Clearly there's regret, and clearly there's things that he still wants to tell you. He just can't bring himself yet to say those words. And Sunday afternoon, you say goodbye to William, and then you begin your drive back north to Philadelphia. Having felt a little bit more grounded and not having to think about the stresses of your job and what happened in Kansas. You don't think about any of that. It's not even a thought in your mind.